One of the most well-remembered eras in gaming was the jump between 2D to 3D. The N64, PS1, and Dreamcast are all looked fondly back on. Heck, it's what I based my whole channel on. However, just as it is looked upon fondly, it's also looked upon with dread. Just like how VHS tapes have been used in horror recently, indie devs have used that old, low-poly aesthetic for more effective horror. After all, some of the greatest horror games were on those consoles. Resident Evil and Silent Hill are two examples that come to mind. They're both great games that started on the PS1 and are still going strong today. People have started attributing some of their horror to their forced art style from the limitations of their platform. So of course, people use that same art style by choice now. And this can make for really effective horror. The lack of detail, the fog, and the rendering limit, it can just creep you out. So today, I wanted to talk about some PS1 and N64 style horror games that I really enjoyed. And have you ever wanted to cook as a hamster? Go Hamster Chef is a neat little game. It was uploaded to itch.io by Matt Henry, and on said itch.io page, it says, "Help Hamster Chef cook yummy dishes for his animal pals. This is a fun, innocent game which does not contain any dark twist." Bit on the nose, I'd say. We start to this really nice title screen, and when we load in, we meet our protagonist. And we've got to cook a salad because, well, we're hungry. So we grab our ingredients by shoving them in our mouth, and then we cut them up on the cutting board. Easy enough. We then transport them to the stove, since all the best salads are made on the stove. The little minigame of cooking is actually pretty well made and fun. I could see this being an actual game. Right as we're getting ready to eat, we get a call on our cell phone, and it's from our neighbor Hopper. He says that he was just scooting by our house when he caught a whiff of the salad, and he asks if he can have it, since his Hop Bop has been sick, and a salad might restore his fighting Irish spirit. So, reluctantly, our little hamster friend gets on a scooter and rides on over to deliver the food. After he thanks us, we decide that we should start our own food delivery service, since it could be a good source of money. So, we ride back home, and now we're ready to go to bed. Once we wake up, we get our first order from our neighbor Benjamin, so we go outside and collect our ingredients and make another simple salad. We ride over to Benjamin, and he is a bit rude, but I guess we're making money, so it doesn't really matter. Get the bag, Hamster Chef. When we wake up the next day, we have another 2 orders, another salad for Benjamin and some fries for Hopper. So we go outside to get our ingredients, but if you go off the beaten path, you can find a bear guarding some weird cracked wall, saying the area is off limits. Bit strange, ain't it? Anyway, we get the ingredients, and we even get to use the deep fryer for the fries. It does actually work a little bit different from the stove, which is really cool. Once we deliver the food, Hopper is chill just like last time, but Benjamin is jerk. And even after insulting our hard work, he has the audacity to order more food. He wants some carrot stew, but that requires onions, which don't grow in the village. So we talk to Hopper, and he says that there should be some onions in the area outside of the village, but we should be careful since his Hop Pop is really scared of that area for some reason. So we sneak in when the guard is asleep, and there's actually some holes in the ground that we can hide in, so you know what that means. We're gonna get chased by man-made horrors beyond our comprehension, baby! There's some missing no-looking guy chasing us, and trust me, you don't want to get caught. We get our onions, and decide we ought to just save the order for tomorrow. When the next day rolls around, we make the stew, and we give it to this jerk, and he acts kinda weird. Now Hopper wants to stir-fry it, but that needs mushrooms, which, again, don't grow within the village walls. We talk to Hopper, and he tells us that Hop Pop went through the hole in the wall when he heard that we had, and he asks if we could go get him. So we check near the water for Hop Pop, and we do find him lying there, dead. But strangely, Hopper said that he left today, but the body looks like it's been dead for months. Our little hamster friend says that he shouldn't just let the mushrooms growing on the corpse go to waste, so he decides to take them to put in the food that he's going to give to his friends. And I thought Benjamin was bad. Imagine Gordon Ramsay witnessing this on Kitchen Nightmares. We tell Hopper the unfortunate news, and he immediately denies it and makes a little cheeky FNAF reference. Now, Benjamin also orders, but his food also requires mushrooms, which is a bit unfortunate. Benjamin eats the food, and his nose begins to bleed, and he begins to itch. And when Hopper eats it, he has a sudden craving for meat, and begins to act strange as well. We go back home, and there's no orders, but when we go outside, we get a call from Benjamin, and he yells and demands us to come over to his house. We go over, and he starts chasing us, and as we drive away, the other animals start chasing us as well. It ends with us being caught by Missing No, and the others all attack us with hyper-realistic faces. The This game had a really cool premise, and it does feel like it could be an old N64 game, well, other than the creepy stuff, of course. The horror was pretty well executed, but I felt like the hyper-realistic faces, and especially Missing No, were kind of out of place. But it's still pretty good. But with that out of the way, have you ever wanted to play as a kid in an abusive household? If so, what's wrong with you? Bad Parenting is a game that I know since Queso played it. It was uploaded to itch.io by 2002, and it looks like it's coming to Steam soon, which is kind of cool. We start and we're playing as a little kid, and our mom comes home late on our birthday. Mom. She lies and claims that she knew that it was our birthday, and when asked about a gift, she says not to worry, as Mr. Redface will leave us a gift. She tells us to go to bed, and we're getting ready to when our father comes in and presses the mom on her lie, and implies that she possibly wasn't being faithful. Once we go to bed, we're awakened by Mr. Redface leaving a gift for us. In the morning, we open the gift, and inside is a doll that looks just like us and even starts talking. We ask about his broken neck, and he says that his master sometimes makes mistakes. He tells us that there's some toys in the closet, but we can't open it, so he suggests that we just eat some food. Thankfully, our mom made our favorite food and left it in the fridge for us. When we sit down to eat, the doll uses some of his magic, and he makes our plate of food never run out. And then he starts making the bottle float. After that craziness, we exclaim how our dad isn't going to be happy, and the doll says not to worry since he took our dad away. The kid is obviously distraught and goes to check, and the doll somehow teleported into the room. We ask him about it, and he says that his master takes bad parents away. We insist our dad doesn't deserve this, so he shows us the way to find our father. We use a radio in the closet to make a portal, but we mess it up first, and we see a corpse in it for some reason. When we finally get it working, we're transported into a strange world. We find a cat and ask him about our dad, and we insist that he's good, but say that he yells and hits us. The cat tells us to go into the door behind us, and we see some kids, a baby in the trunk of a car, a girl in a ditch, and a boy in front of a flame. We go through the door and find our dad, but he's twitching and begging us to stop punishing him. We find a blue card on a table, and we're quickly grabbed by a large hand before we wake up and our mom is in front of us. She scolds us for hiding, and we tell her about the situation, and she says that it's good that our dad is gone. She says that we haven't been taking our meds, and she says that this isn't the first time we've had hallucinations, but we don't remember. So we just go to bed, and now the doll is floating, and... Our mom wakes us up and she promises to take a day off so she can be with us. We go back to sleep, and when we wake up the next day, she's broken her promise. We go back to the doll, and he says that his master beat the crap out of him, and then he reveals that his master has taken our mother away as well. He tells us to run before his master takes us next, but we insist on finding her, and we show him the blue card, and he says that it's apparently the spell that defeats Mr. Redface. We go back into the other dimension, and we throw the spell in the room before taking cover behind the car with the other kids. Mr. Redface goes into the room, and then he explodes. We go back home, and our doll is fading away, since now that his master is dead, he's going to die as well. He tells us not to worry, and he tells us to just go see our parents. But when we do, this happens. The mom leaves and we go to see our dad, and he drinks from his bottle, his motions directly paralleling that of which the doll made. He is Mr. Redface, with the alcohol being the cause of his discolored face. He goes into our room, picks us up by our neck, and then... he walks over to the closet and places our body in it, just like how we saw the corpse in that closet earlier. We open the door to see our dead body, and we ask the doll what's going on. He says that we've always known the truth, and that he is the knowing part of us. We've tried to deny it, but he's tried to make us remember so that we can move on. But whenever he tries, we always forget. We ask how long we've been dead, and he says 14 days. We try to deny as we're still confused, and he says that our dad is hiding in a cheap motel room, and we get this scene. He says that our mom still sees us at night, and we see her finding her son's body. We then see her in a police interrogation room, and she doesn't know where the father is, but she then finds the spell, which is actually a motel card. The father is then arrested, and we return to the strange dimension with our new friends. The girl in the ditch, the boy in the fire, the baby in the trunk, and us in our wardrobe. This game is really great. It tells a heartbreaking story that's sadly not too far off from reality. The amount of foreshadowing you realize once this game is over is very well written. However, even though the story is really great, it's still a game, and a game should be fun to play. There's no chase scenes, no real gameplay, unlike something like Hamster Chef. Not every horror game needs to be the next God of War or anything, but still, it should be something. It needs to be a game to be a game. It's still really great, but it's just something that irks me about a lot of these games. Now, after that depressing note, let's talk about a game that's a little bit more goofy. Night of the Consumers is a horror game with the scariest premise: working a retail job. It was made by Germ Food on itch.io, and man, I just love this title screen. We boot up and we're in the back room of a store, and we see our boss, and he basically just tells us to work hard. And then our co-worker runs into the room while being chased by a ton of customers. He barely makes it in, and then he throws up everywhere, right next to the hygiene sign, which is kind of funny. So he says he can't take it anymore, and gives us a note with some tips on survival. So now we have to stock the shelves while avoiding the pushy customers who will constantly stop us and ask for our help. Thankfully, we can try to outrun them, and we can even throw boxes at them to knock them down and stun them. We can also hide in the employees-only rooms where they can't get us because, well, it's employees only. In one of the employees-only rooms, there's a crack in the wall, and if we throw a box at it repeatedly, it'll break, and we can find a skeleton with tally marks of what are seemingly the days that this person was trapped in this small room. There's also ramblings on the wall to not trust the manager. If you don't lead a customer to the specific area on time, you'll be transported into a dark version of the store. No matter how much you run, you'll always get caught by your boss and be fired. Once you stock all your shelves, your boss will be really happy, and he'll say that you gotta do it all over again tomorrow, which is the true horror of this game. This game was a bit silly, but still scary. It's probably one of the most stressful games ever made, which is accurate for the setting. I also really like the weird dimension you're transported to when you're caught. Not to use an already really overused word, but it's liminal. But with that out of the way, I want to play some Minecraft. MCSX is a Minecraft mod pack that aims not only to add a PS1 style to the game, but also make it scary. It was uploaded by XKazIsCoolX on CurseForge, and it's accompanied with this story on the CurseForge page, which I'll read for you now. It's an average Saturday afternoon. You just got your paycheck from your degrading part-time cashier job, a whopping $55.62. With your newfound riches, you decide to hit up some local garage sales to see if you can get a good deal on any retro games. These relics, forgotten by time, remind you of a simpler world. A world of play, of laughter, joy, and excitement. Concepts that are becoming more and more unfamiliar to you with each passing day that you waste away at that stupid cash register. You climb into your beat-up 2007 Saturn Ion with the rear bumper held on by duct tape and drive, stopping at each location to see what they have to offer. Clothes, books, kids' toys, but no games. This average Saturday afternoon has now devolved into a disappointing Saturday evening, with the orange glow of the setting sun enveloping you in despondency. You decide to make one last stop before calling it a day. You step out of the car, hopes lower than ever, to see more of the same. Tables of neatly folded clothes, boxes of old VHS tapes, dusty dinnerware, and miscellaneous knickknacks. As you're heading back to the car, something out of the corner of your eye catches your attention. A lone PS1 game, resting atop a plastic tote full of bed sheets. With the glare of the sun reflecting off of its plastic jewel case, you can't quite make out what game it is, but you can tell it's a 3-disc game by the thickness of the case. You wonder which game it could be. Alone in the Dark? Final Fantasy? Chrono Cross? Curiosity now at its peak, you find yourself reaching for the alluring game. Your curiosity is now twisted into total confusion. Now holding the game in your cold, clammy hands, you read the title, speaking it out loud. Minecraft, PlayStation Edition. As these words leave your lips, you feel a chill run down your spine. How can this be, you think to yourself? Minecraft wasn't created until 2009. By then, even the PlayStation 3 was already 3 years old. This is impossible. Surely this is a fake, or a homebrew, or something. Flipping the game over, you take a gander at the rest of the case. At first glance, all appears to be normal. It has a rating, a barcode, gameplay screenshots, even an SLUS number. But upon further inspection, you notice the text on the back of the case. It's not English. In fact, it's no language that you've ever even seen before, to your recollection at least. Strange, indeed. You tear your eyes away from the case. It's getting dark out. The owners of the house have begun packing up their unsold items, and most of the customers have gone home. You glance back down at the game to see the price sticker. $15. Should I? You ponder. $15 is a sizable amount for someone in your position, but why spend this much on something that might not even work? But you can't just let something this unusual go. You have to know what it is, or it'll haunt you for the rest of your life. For the first time, you open the case. You see the first disc, Overworld. Next to it appears to be the game manual. You open it, but the pages are all torn out. Why would someone do this? Shoving the thought aside, you close the empty housing of what presumably once was an instruction booklet and open the second compartment of the case, revealing the other 2 discs, the end and the slip. The slip? Is that supposed to be like the Nether? Shrugging off your confusion, you question the integrity of the game. All the discs are there, but in what condition? You check the shiny, black underside of each disc for scratches, but they're minimal. You take one last look at your surroundings. Nobody's noticed you. In what is not your proudest moment, you close the case, shove it into the pocket of your hoodie, and as you do, you feel a sudden sense that someone or something is watching you. You spare a quick glance over your shoulder. Nothing. You briskly leave the scene, shuffle into your car, and start the engine. Upon arriving at your humble abode, you slam the door behind you, startled by the sound. It seems to have snapped you out of your daze, bringing you to a more conscious state of mind. It's a very familiar feeling, the same feeling you experience every time you wake up. Your surroundings slowly become more real to you. You slowly become more self-aware. Your clothes are damp from sweat. Your vision is blurrier than normal. You don't even remember the drive home. It's as if you teleported. Looking around the room, not quite sure what you're looking for, your eyes stop once they reach the clock on the wall. 11:57. What the heck? Not so much a question that begs for an answer, but rather a simple declaration of bewilderment. You toss your keys in the direction of the table, not caring whether they land on it or not. You open the mysterious case, remove the Overworld disc, and place it into your PlayStation. Close the lid, and press the power button. It's a procedure you've done so many times before, but this time, it doesn't feel so comforting. You're welcomed by the notoriously eerie startup sequence of the PS1, preceded by a large spinning grass block accompanied by the word loading. You feel yourself becoming increasingly more uneasy as the block continues to spin and spin and spin. and as it does so, you feel yourself starting to slip away. Before you have time to process your suspicions, it stops, and the title screen presents itself to you. Minecraft PlayStation Edition. There are 3 buttons: Play, Options, and Quick Game. Next to these options, a graphic of Steve. His eyes seem to pierce through yours, looking directly into your soul. But it's just a picture, right? The background, while perhaps unintentional, is intangibly disturbing. It appears to be some kind of mansion, expertly built, nonetheless, in a dark and foggy setting. You press play, proceeding to the World Select screen. To your surprise, there's already one world. Tutorial. You're no stranger to Minecraft, so you ignore it, eagerly jumping straight to the Create New World button. Most of the standard world creation options seem to be there, along with a virtual keyboard. You use it to name your world, then you set your game mode, world type, difficulty, and with the controller ever so slightly trembling in your hands, you hesitate just for a second. Curiosity, anxiety, excitement, and fear. All these emotions hit you like a punch to the stomach. Your breath stops. The clock strikes 12. Preparing for world creation. Do not turn off system. Well, that certainly was ominous. Surely it can't be that scary. Right. Rather than simply telling you about it, I decided I'd record some gameplay. Here's a little highlight reel for you. Now let's roll the tape. Quick note. In the clip you're going to watch, I actually played an edit of the mod pack called Robert's Curse by OK Robert, since the normal MCSX mod pack was giving me some problems. But don't worry, it's really not that different, and I'll leave the link to both mod packs in the description. Also, I added a couple extra mods, which I'll also link. Alright, now we can play the tape. Well, that sure was scary, wasn't it? Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. So subscribe if you don't want to miss it. I've been Lopala Levi, you've been a great viewer, and... Wait, what was that sound? Oh, there's a crack under my desk. Let me see what's in here. Wait, is that...